Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland. It is October the 30th, Cindy's birthday. I said, Cindy, what do you want for birthday? She said, I want a bunch of fruit trees and a load of cow poop. Okay. Well, guess where I've been all day? Digging up trees and never mind. So, thank you so much for joining us. I'm serious. Women, who understands them? Anyway, we have taken a little break from our asking questions about how did this evolve to answer Aaron Nelson, who calls himself Aaron Ra, but I don't like the Egyptian goddess or god with got a hawk head or something like that. I don't think he's got. Never mind. So, Mr. Nelson, you said you had evidence of your changing your name legally. Well, show that next time. I'd like to see that, and then I'll believe you. And tell them, just like you don't believe I taught high school, I don't believe your name changed to Aaron Ra. I think it's Aaron Nelson. So, Mr. Nelson, tonight we're going to finish up talking. Well, not going to finish up. We're going to take another segment out of your YouTube. I made a challenge some time ago that I would take on any atheist or evolutionist. I would like them to offer their best 3 evidences for evolution. And someone told me, hey, why haven't you answered Aaron? I said, I don't know. Did he say something? Yeah, I don't watch your channel, don't intend to, but I did watch this one. So I'm going to play clip at a time like the agreement was and interject my corrections. Okay, here's where I think where we left off last broadcast. Here he said, okay.
Kant calls anyone who accepts mainstream science an evolutionist because he...
Whoa. Here you are confusing mainstream science and evolution. This is the problem, okay? Beer is often sold at football games. Beer has nothing to do with football, okay? And it does not become athletic by association. Marlboro uses cowboys as their logo to sell Marlboro, and Marlboro cigarettes have nothing to do with cowboys. And evolution is not part of mainstream science. Stop associating it with mainstream science. Science deals with things we can observe, study, test, and demonstrate. There's nothing about biology or earth science or physical science or chemistry that involves evolution. It's a completely useless religion stirred in and mixed in with our science. So don't try to sneak your evolution in under the guise of science. It's not part of science, Mr. Nelson.
He wants to establish the fallacy of false equivalence.
Whoa. Fallacy of false equivalency. Okay, here we go. What is the fallacy of false equivalency? Okay.
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. False equivalence is a logical fallacy in which 2 completely opposing arguments appear to be logically equivalent,
when in fact they are not. I'll look it up on Wikipedia, and they give a few examples, okay, of false equivalency. Here we go. Examples, okay. They're both living animals that metabolize chemical energy. There's no difference between a pet cat and a pet snail. Whoa. Aaron, this is precisely what you do, the false equivalency. I asked you, do you think a pine tree, a whale and a pine tree are related? Your answer was yes, they're both eukaryotes. A eukaryote is a cell that contains a nucleus wrapped in its own little membrane. That's a common cell structure for millions of different creatures, okay? I know the elephant and the pine tree are related. They both have a trunk, okay? But you're accusing me of the logical fallacy of false equivalency? No, sir. Look in the mirror. You said an elephant and a pine tree are related because they're both eukaryotes. You are doing the false equivalency. Let's continue here.
Pretending that science is religion too.
I have never said science is religion. I've said evolution is religion.
That's right.
So I love science. I taught science for 15 years, whether you believe it or not. And I think I can hold my own in a discussion on science. Do you want to talk about physical science or earth science or biology? I think I can probably name more muscles and bones and tendons and ligaments than you can. If not, congratulations. But none of that has anything to do with evolution. So stop associating evolution with science. It's not related. It's not science. It's nonsense. It is a religion.
I don't know how improving our understanding of reality is somehow more dangerous than believing it.
Well, I'm not afraid of improving our understanding of reality. That's what science has been about for hundreds of years. Studying things. Why does this happen? Why does this do this? Oh, we forgot the fan. Oh, I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry. Here, turn the fan on there. Okay. Is it working? Do I look more intelligent? It's probably messing up the microphones. But shut it off. Okay. I can't compete with that. I'm sorry. Okay. So there is nothing about science that has anything to do with evolution. Stop associating the two here. And improving our understanding of reality. I am in favor of that. Evolution is a hindrance to science. Evolution hasn't improved our understanding of reality in any branch of science. You don't need to know anything about Charlie Darwin to understand about physics and launch a rocket to the moon. You don't need to understand anything to learn about... no doctor on the planet who does surgery thinks about evolution. He better know his muscles and his tendons and his bones and what to cut, what not to cut. I don't care if the heart surgeon is a Christian. He should be, but many heart surgeons are Christians and say, wow, God designed this amazing heart. Here you are. This is the false equivalency. You're trying to say if you don't believe in evolution, you're against the advancement of science. This is ridiculous, Mr. Nelson. Let me help you here. Let's go on here.
And evil spirits, spells, and curses, but that's what he...
Evil spirits, spells, and curses? When have I ever said that? Some of you said you've watched all my videos, okay? Okay. I don't believe I ever talk about that. Okay.
He thinks, at least he realizes how bad religions are.
When have I ever said I realize how bad religions are? Evolution is a bad religion, but belief in a God that created the world, how could that possibly be bad? I think that has helped many people. Let me continue here.
And Kent is fond of repeating the lie that
the evolution theory is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. He said, Kent is fond of repeating the lie. Aaron, that's not a lie. It's true. I'll say it till I die. Evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. I can't think of anything dumber than to teach the kids we all came from a rock and there's nobody to answer to. How could you have right and wrong? How could you have any rules? Where's the standard for right and wrong? If evolution is true, answer that in your rebuttal, please. So I'm not repeating a lie. I'm repeating a statement you don't like. I'm exposing a truth when I say that, Mr. Nelson.
But as I have explained to him before, every religion commonly accepted as such by both its adherents and critics is a faith-based belief system positing the notion that a supernatural essence of self somehow survives the death of the physical body to continue on in some other form.
Now hold it. You made up this definition. You can look up the word religion in 10 different dictionaries. There's a row of them up there and get all kinds of different definitions for the word religion. So you're going to make up your own definition of the word religion, or maybe one that you selected out of all the ones available. Usually the word religion means belief in a supernatural power or powers that created the universe. Or some say created and governs the universe. I don't know where you got this definition. It is true that many religions do teach that some part of the body survives the death of the body, that man has a soul. If man is just animated meat, if your brain and your body is nothing but a collection of chemicals that got together by random chance over billions of years, how do you trust your own thoughts and your reasoning processes? Maybe you got a chemical in there backwards, Mr. Nelson. I believe you do, matter of fact, but I'm here to help. Okay.
That's what a religion is?
That's your definition of what a religion is. Don't start with your false idea and then build upon that sand foundation. Let's go on here.
Because that's what all religions are. But that doesn't apply to evolution or any other aspect of science either.
Well, there you go again. That doesn't apply to evolution or any other aspect of science. Do you see how he constantly tries to weave the two as if it's part of science? Evolution is not part of science. I love science. Evolution isn't science. Nobody's ever seen a dog produce a non-dog. You might believe it. You might have imagination and think that dogs and pine cones are related. Oh, I don't care what you believe, but that's not science. You and SpongeBob need to start a college together. Okay, here we go.
Even the standard definition shows that...
There you go. Even the standard definition. Are you just now admitting that the one you made was made up? Looked like a little confession there to me. Let's go on here.
Evolution is not a religion, and Kent knows it's not. But he is...
No, I don't know that it's not a religion. I honestly, sincerely believe evolution, the first 5 of the 6 I give, are religious. They have to be accepted by faith. There is no proof, scientific proof, that a speck of nothing can explode and create everything. There's no evidence for that at all. There is no evidence of any star forming. None. Nobody's ever seen one form. We don't even know how it can happen. Nobody's ever seen that, so you believe it. There's no evidence of a planet forming from a hot molten ball of rock. There's no evidence for that. That's a religious belief. There's no evidence that life can start in a warm little pond or organic soup. That's part of a religion. There is no evidence anywhere in the planet, anywhere in recorded history, that any animal or plant has ever produced anything other than its kind. I know you don't like the word kind. That's what the Bible uses. I think I'll stick with that, please. Okay.
He's not in the habit of correcting or even acknowledging his own mistakes because...
I'm not in the habit of correcting or acknowledging my mistakes. You haven't pointed one out yet, Mr. Nelson. I think I've pointed out some of yours. Will you correct or acknowledge your mistakes, please? Okay. Which specific mistake? I've said evolution's a religion. Now, you don't like that, but that's not a mistake. I think you'll find thousands and thousands of people would agree that evolution's a religion.
That's all he has.
That's all I have are mistakes and errors. Have you listened to my seminars? I cover all sorts of... I'll tell you what. 2 + 2 is 4. Are you going to call that a mistake now? Because if it's all I have is mistakes and errors, well, what is 2 + 2? You tell me if I got it wrong. I think I give lots of scientific evidence. Watch my last 60 broadcasts on different creatures from A to M now, and we'll finish that eventually. Where exactly, why would you say that's all I have?
If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with...
Okay, now we're going to have to edit out your cursing, obviously. We said that was part of the deal. Let me explain something to you, Mr. Nelson. You just had something in your mouth that I wouldn't hold in my hand.
Yeah.
Think about that for 5 minutes. And my daddy would say, when somebody resorts to cursing and swearing, that's a sign of a low IQ. I think Daddy was right. Okay, you're demonstrating it for us. So I'm not trying to dazzle anybody. You're the one who tries to dazzle people with all kinds of big words and talking rapidly and never got to look up everything you say. I target the 4th, 5th graders. People enjoy my stuff. They say, wow, I heard that guy, I understood him. I keep it real simple. Who's trying to dazzle people with bovine excrement?
That's his game. He doesn't have any actual truth, and he doesn't even know what truth is.
Now, why would you say such a thing? He doesn't have any actual truth, and he doesn't know what truth is. Which field of science would you like to take? Earth science, physical science, biology? I think I can hold my own on any one of those in a discussion with a whole lot of people. I don't want to try to dazzle anybody with my brilliance here, but I think I could rattle off quite a few facts that would dazzle you with my brilliance if you would like, but we won't do that. Okay, let's go on.
Which is sad. Beware of false knowledge. It is much more dangerous than ignorance.
That one, oh, hang on. He nailed you right on the head with that one. Call Bernard and say, thank you, you corrected me, Bernard. I needed that. Please, that's you, okay, doing that, not me.
Video in its entirety, unless there's profanity, I will edit that out. But as long as you can talk without cursing, which I don't know if you can, but if you can.
Gosh darn it to heck, how am I supposed to argue with this?
There's another example. You cannot argue. You think profanity enhances the discussion. To me, it demonstrates a low IQ. That's what my daddy taught me. You can't think of anything else to say, so let's curse and swear and dazzle them. Dazzle them with my profanity. I'm not the least bit intimidated by it. And as I said, you had something in your mouth I wouldn't want to hold in my hand, okay? So, but if you want to put that kind of stuff in your mouth, go for it. It looks like with the wedding ring you're married, you might want to warn your wife that you had that in there before you kiss her, I think. Okay.
But I will play the video in its entirety, but I will hit pause and interject my comments as needed. So we will then supply an edited video. It will be his comments on the proof for evolution with my interjections as often as necessary.
I think we need the fan again just for a second here. Mr. Nelson. Go ahead, sir. I think this is a very reasonable offer that we will edit in comments as needed, because we got to stop you every 3 words. You interrupted me 288 times, and with me only speaking 36 minutes. This is going to be a much better way to do it, okay? I think most people who watch this, Steve is the first one ready to go up here almost? Almost. And then we'll gradually get these posted on our YouTube channel. I wanted to wait till the end, but you want to post them as you do them. Okay, well, then that's fine with me. But this was my offer, and I promised I would play the tape in its entirety, so here goes.
Aaron may then get his second chance to speak and re-edit the video. Don't leave out anything I say, but he's going to want to pause in the middle of my talking and interject his comments and send it back to me. I will then get my second chance to edit in any comments needed, and we will publish the video. We both get 2 chances at this. You give your best 3 evidences, I'll counter, but I don't want any interruptions at all, okay? And then you can do it in your studio without any interruptions from me, and then I will do it, and we will publish it. Each of us will be allowed to post it and share it and copy it and sell it if we choose, with no royalty due to the other party. Simple enough?
What Hovind is proposing is essentially a written debate, which I'm delighted to accept, because that's the way scientific debates are done, where we can check each other's sources before we reply. That also means that he can't do the Gish Gallop.
Here we go again with the Gish Gallop. We got the raw rat run. Okay, run on and on and on. I don't do the Gish Gallop. I continually say one topic at a time. But watch his next statement here. This is good.
Of course, that's why he's also demanding equal time and editorial control, but it doesn't work that way. Equal time doesn't apply in scientific debates. We can't have it anyway, not if he's going to enter as many interjections as necessary, which is how it should be. Because the truth matters, every error will be corrected, no matter how long that takes.
Even yours? We shall see.
Though I will try to be as brief as I can be. Interruptions aren't even possible in this format, so I guess Hovind hadn't really thought this through. And that's especially obvious when he says that we should talk about one thing at a time, which we should, yet at the same time he tells me to list 3 different lines of evidence at once.
Mr. Nelson, yes, I want you to list the 3 things that you think are the best evidences for evolution, and then we will talk about them one at a time. I guess I don't see a problem with that. What is there a problem with that? I'm giving you an opportunity to list the 3 best evidences you know of for evolutionism, and then we'll talk about them one at a time. Why would you think that's a contradiction here? I don't understand.
So we can't talk about one thing at a time, can we?
Why is it? I don't understand. You can't list 3 things and then we talk about them one at a time? Go ask your mama to explain it to you, okay? It's not hard.
I'm not going to keep my video unlisted and let him edit it twice before anyone sees it. There's no reason to do that, and there are good reasons not to.
Fair enough.
Why would I? So he can sell copies? I'm a YouTuber.
Is a YouTuber an occupation? Is that something you go to school for? So someone who posts a YouTube can claim to be a YouTuber?
Yes.
Is that like an honorable profession? I mean, are there any restrictions on who can do that?
Yes.
Is there any training? Is there some, you get like a certificate? I'm a YouTuber? Congratulations. Okay.
Patreon. I'm not peddling DVDs like it's 1999, and I wouldn't go into any partnership with that snake oil salesman anyway.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to partner anyway, but let me just see here. Let's see. Snake oil salesman.
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. Snake oil is a traditional Chinese medicament utilizing fat extracted from the Chinese water snake. It is a rubefacient and/or ointment.
So the Chinese, for centuries, have been using snake oil as a medicine, okay? It was used in the United States. Snake oil, I don't know, what do you, milk the snake or something? I don't know how you get the oil out of the snake, but that's the snake's problem. Anyway, Wikipedia says it's been used as medicine for centuries. Traditional Chinese medicine using fat extracted from the Chinese water snake. It is a rubefacient and an ointment. It is applied topically to relieve minor physical pain. It has been used in traditional Chinese medicine for many centuries and is a relatively common medicine prescribed by doctors ascribing to the practice of traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, I don't sell snake oil, Mr. Nelson. I never have. I don't intend to. I wouldn't be interested in that. So why would you say you wouldn't want to be a partner with that snake oil salesman? Why would you say such a thing? When have you ever... Check my website. Steve, you built it. Do we have any snake oil for sale on there?
No.
No. Julie, you work in the bookstore. Is there any snake oil for sale around here?
No.
Mr. Nelson, I'm not a snake oil salesman.
So I will send him the video link after it is published for all to see, and he's welcome to do the same thing in reply.
Well, good. That's what I'm going to do. And apparently you did send somebody. I did not know about this. I would have responded first day had I known. So everybody kept commenting, are you going to respond to R and Raj? I never heard that he did. So thank you for responding, at least. We'll continue here.
This also enables the audience to determine the winner themselves rather.
Very good. I think the audience should determine the winner themselves, okay? Rather than, now listen to what he says here.
Than have him simply declaring victory in his final edit before sending it to his misinformed donors.
Declaring victory in my final edit before sending it to my misinformed donors. Hovind translation. Anybody who doesn't believe him is dumb. If you believe what I teach, you're dumb. Is that kind of how you would interpret that?
That's how I would. Yep.
Thomas, what all degrees do you have? You We don't want to go there. Okay. We got some pretty smart people here in our Dinosaur Adventureland crew. Okay. We got some people with a very high IQ, and I think we don't sell snake oil. And you're welcome. You might try some for the pain, though. Okay. All right. Let's see here.
This reminds me of the time that Hovind offered $250,000 for evidence of evolution.
Now, this you talk about the logical fallacies, Mr. Nelson. You're going off on a rabbit trail now to divert attention. Here you've gone on for 10 minutes and 22 seconds, and you still haven't. I just simply asked you to list the 3 best evidences of evolution-ism. You still haven't. It's been 10 minutes and 22 seconds of you wearing out your temporomandibular joint. Overuse of the masseter muscle. So I think, anyway, let's
that
go on.
means that if I show a body of objectively verifiable facts that are positively indicative of, or
If you show a body of facts that are positive, indicative of evidence for evolution. Here you are talking about the $250,000, many years ago. Rich lawyer called me and said, Brother Hovind, I love your videos. I love what you're doing. Why don't you offer a reward for anybody who can prove evolution? They want to demand everybody that teach it in the schools, and they want us to all pay for it. Make them prove it. I said, well, for a long time I was offering $10,000 for anybody who could prove the theory of evolution. He said, I'll back you up. Let's make it $250,000. So, okay. So for a long time we said $250,000. Now, if you're going to prove evolution is true, obviously you would have to prove that God didn't do it. I'd like to see how you can do that. You want us to pay for this religion to be taught. The burden of proof's on you to prove that it's the only scientific explanation, the only reasonable explanation. If you're walking through the woods and you find an arrowhead, and I said, I want you to explain how this came to be, but you cannot use man as your answer. Well, you might go off on all kinds of scientific explanations about thermal expansion or exfoliation or abrasion or contortions, and come up with any ideas you want. There's only one logical answer. Somebody made it. There's only one logical answer. God made the world. Now, if that bothers you, I'm sorry, but the $250,000 offer was a lawyer backing me up saying, offer evidence if somebody can prove evolution in a court of law. Now, why you're going off on this rabbit trail, I don't know, but I think it's a logical fallacy to divert a rabbit trail away from the topic. You're still not giving evidence for evolution. But let me finish here.
exclusively concordant with that position, which is what evidence is, of which I have volumes, then he'd have to give me $250,000. Right?
You have volumes of evidence for evolution. I'm ready for it. I've been asking for it. Give me your best 3. That was the topic we started with. You have volumes of evidence. Okay. Time for the fan again? No, better not. Okay.
Right? But if you tried to collect that prize, the next page said that he wouldn't actually accept anything that would qualify as evidence of evolution.
Oh, no, I never said that. I'll accept anything that qualifies as evidence for evolution. What do you have? Has anybody ever seen life come from non-life? Has anybody ever seen a dog produce a non-dog? Has anybody ever seen a single-celled organism turn into a 2-celled organism? And I don't mean a colony. I mean a 2-celled functioning organism. Has anybody ever seen a mutation that adds new information? We see mutations that detract information, like cave fish going blind. That's losing, not gaining. I cover all that in my Lies in the Textbooks video. You might want to watch that very carefully. Part of the series, $50 for the whole thing. drdino.com if you want to get that. Okay, let's go on.
Instead, he demanded proof that God couldn't have done it. So we have to assume that a God even exists, in which case he has unlimited magic. So the offer was just a dishonest bait and switch scam all along.
It was not a dishonest bait and switch scam. It's legitimate, and nobody ever gave evidence. Instead, they complained about the offer, like you're doing here. Where's the evidence? I would like to see it. Okay.
Done as a publicity stunt so the believers could say, see, no one answered Hovind's challenge.
It wasn't a publicity stunt. It was to try to get guys like you to admit, you know, we really don't have evidence for this theory. We really can't prove it. We believe it very strongly, and we want everybody else to believe it. Well, that's normal with every religion. Every religion really honestly believes what they believe, and they try to get others to convert to their religion. Some at the point of a sword or a gun, but it's normal for every religion to believe they're correct and to want to get other people to believe like them. That's what your religion's been doing for the last 70 years.
I remember another debate that Hovind had where his opponent accurately guessed what evidence Hovind would ask for, so that upon demand, his interlocutor produced a printed stack of peer-reviewed articles. Hovind literally did a hand-waving dismissal, looked away and said, that's not evidence, that's just a bunch of paper.
If someone hands me a stack of paper and say, this is peer-reviewed articles, that is now evidence for evolution. Nobody's ever seen any animal produce a different animal. I've read bunches of different articles where people try to they look at some little bump on a frog and say, oh wow, or a ladybug. This one's got 12 spots instead of 11. Oh, it's still a ladybug, sir. But they can't get a government grant unless they find an extra dot on the ladybug or something like that. Show me the best evidence. I've been asking for this. Not a stack of papers. Explain it to us.
That's how dishonest Hovind is. And that's why he's not to be trusted to set the parameters of our debate.
Hold it. I thought you said you wouldn't do a debate, Mr. Nelson. I thought you said it had to be a discussion. You're waffling back and forth here awfully bad, but that's okay. I don't care which one you want to call it. I like this format, though. I like to be able to... You can't respond. I have the pause button here. This is wonderful. Now, I'm not dishonest. I'm very honest. Ask people that have known me for years. Ernie Land, one of our trustees, known me for nearly 30 years. He'll say, Brother Hovind, you haven't changed at all. I'm I think, extremely honest and blunt sometimes, maybe a little too blunt. And okay.
If Hovind wants to debate science, he's going to have to follow certain rules.
Science is things we can observe, study, and test. I'd like you to follow those rules. What observation do we have of any animal ever producing a different kind of animal? I think that's a reasonable rule. Let's see.
Of them being that, of course, peer-reviewed articles reflect actual research experiments that really do qualify as evidence.
Peer-reviewed articles, think about that. In North Korea right now, how many peer-reviewed articles are being written saying, we don't think communism works? Do we have economic magazines in this country where people discuss different economic theories of what works and how to invest your money and stuff like that? There's a whole branch of people, a whole bunch of people involved in economics, the bankers, etc. Are they allowed to write articles back and forth and say, hey, we don't think capitalism works, we think communism works, or we don't think communism works, we think socialism works, whatever? Are there any peer-reviewed articles in North Korea questioning communism? Do you think there are? What would happen if somebody wrote an article and said, I don't think communism works, I think capitalism's a better system? I don't buy your peer-reviewed article. I think the scientific peer-reviewed process has been sabotaged and taken over by the evolutionists, where if you don't claim to believe in evolution, your stuff won't get published. Watch the movie Expelled by Ben Stein. Is it over there on the shelf? You guys can come in and watch it if you'd like in the TV here. So that's not evidence. The fact that the majority of something believes something. I think you'd find peer-reviewed articles in George Washington's time that all said, if you're sick, take out some blood, you'll get better. They would take out blood out of the right side, and then to keep the person balanced, take out blood out of the left side. Check out the doctrine of humors. That was the peer-reviewed science of George Washington's day. Check out the peer-reviewed articles about big rocks falling faster than little rocks because Aristotle said so. That was taught for 2,000 years. Till Galileo came up with a brilliant, simple question. Hey guys, if I drop a 10-pound rock and a 5-pound rock, would the 10-pound rock fall faster? They said, oh yeah, Aristotle said it would. He said, what if I break the 10-pound rock in half and tie the two pieces together with a string and drop it? Does it fall like a 5-pound rock or a 10-pound rock? Completely stumped him. We don't know. How about let's go up on the Leaning Tower of Pisa and try it? and they dropped off a cannonball and a BB and they fell at the same speed. But the peer-reviewed articles said, oh no, big rocks fall faster. It is true, most of the peer-reviewed articles in science magazines today will have to support the evolution theory because they won't get published if they don't. See what happened to Robert Gentry when he published peer-reviewed articles about the radiopolonium halos. Is that book in here? It's kind of a yellowish color. Robert Gentry, Creation's Tiny Mystery. Anyway, he was publishing in the major magazines, and all of a sudden they realized, there it is right there. Hand me your phone, would you? Robert Gentry, up in Nashville, Tennessee, Creation's Tiny Mystery, he discovered radiopolonium halos in granite rock. Well, polonium has an extremely short half-life. It only lasts a few thousandths of a second. And so he said this rock was never molten. If the rock was melted, liquid, the halo would have flowed away. How many of the 4th of July fireworks from last 4th of July that blow up in the sky and make a ring, how many are still hanging up there in the sky? None. But if a firework went off in a giant block of jello, the ring would be preserved. Okay, the rings preserved in granite rock are clear evidence it was never liquid. The Bible says when God made the world, it was under water. You guys believe it was a hot molten mass. How do you explain the radiopolonium halos? It's got polonium-218, polonium-216, I believe. Read the book. So his articles were published until they realized, oh no, this proves our Big Bang Theory wrong. And they shut him off like a spigot. Robert Gentry, Powell, Tennessee. Creation's Tiny Mysteries is the book. I'm sure you can find his website from there. So this is, Aaron, peer-reviewed articles is not evidence. It might be evidence of a particular religion like yours taking over society for a while. I'm trying to fix that. Okay.
Regardless how much religious make-believers want to pretend otherwise.
Religious make-believers want to pretend that peer-reviewed articles is not the way to solve this problem. This is not the way to solve the problem. Show me an example of any animal producing a different kind of animal. Every time I say, do you think dogs came from non-dogs? They will say something like, well, given enough time, bingo, stop right there, think about that. It's a religion. It's not a scene. If I told you if you kiss a frog, it'll turn to a prince, you'd say, well, that's a fairy tale. What if I said if you wait millions of years, the frog will turn to a prince? Is adding time somehow magic now going to solve the problem? Now, for you evolutionists, time is your God. It can do anything. Given enough time, everything's going to fall apart. It's not going to get better.
Another rule is that he doesn't get to redefine scientific terms in ways other than mainstream.
Well, then you don't get to redefine science either. Look at I got dictionaries from 1880. Science is knowledge, from the Latin word seer, to know. What do we know? And then you've got to get into, well, how do we know what we know? Well, we know things by observation, by experimentation, by testing. And every farmer in the world will tell you, cows make cows. There's millions of experiments to prove bacteria produce bacteria. And dogs produce dogs. Millions of experiments. Observation, testing, demonstrated. Where's the observation, science, or demonstration of a dog coming from a non-dog? You believe a dog and a banana are related, for heaven's sake. You believe a pine tree and a whale are related. Where's the evidence any pine tree ever produced anything other than a pine tree? You're the one who wants to redefine science to include your religion of evolution, Mr. Nelson.
Academic science uses those terms. And I have to stress that because creationists depend on equivocation along with a host of other fallacious arguments. There's no great skill involved in refusing to be reasoned with, which is what it means to be irrational.
Refusing to be reasoned with. I'm trying to be very reasonable. I'm asking for your best evidences. There's your 12 minutes in now. I still like to see it. Ration based on reason. I believe most reasonable people would say there must have been some kind of designer for this universe. Able to be reasoned with. I'm welcome. Please. Isaiah 1:18, God said, come now, let us reason together. God, very willing to reason with you, Mr. Nelson.
General public viewing our exchange will see every round of this debate, and the winner will be clear, even if I don't declare it and he refuses to admit it.
Well, the winner will be clear if he refuses to admit it. In other words, he's already decided he won, hasn't he? Is that the way you would interpret that? Maybe we should have a counter up someplace, you know?
I was planning on it.
Put a counter up. How many think Aaron is being rational and is proving his point? How many think Kent is rational proving his point? Okay.
He said not to delete anything he says, which is fair, but I trust that I don't have to keep everything he said in his challenge video, because
You're back to the challenge video. Is this about the $250,000 challenge? Which is unrelated to this, but okay.
that was nearly 40 minutes long, and only about 6 minutes of that had anything to do with me. So I cut out all the irrelevant bits, including him reading from my Wikipedia page, except that I do have to comment on this.
It says he studied paleontology at Dallas. I don't know what that means for sure. He walked onto the campus and picked up a rock. It doesn't say which campus. I studied paleontology in 37 countries in all 50 states. I have studied lots of things in all those states. Okay.
Notice, Hovind claims to have studied paleontology in 37 countries, but we have no reason to believe that he ever attended it.
You're going off, diverting from the fact here. I asked where you studied paleontology. Your Wikipedia page says you studied paleontology. What does that mean? It doesn't mention a university. It doesn't mention where. It doesn't mention who the teacher was. I'm just trying to ask you a simple logical question. Yeah, if you mean studying rocks and ancient history, sure, I do that all the time.
Any classes in any of them, and we know he didn't.
You know he didn't take classes in any of those. Okay, let's keep going here.
He is the one who only walked onto a campus and picked up rocks. Making false assumptions about every pile of dirt you happen to see is not the same thing as formally studying a field that he obviously knows nothing at all about.
I think I know quite a bit about that. I'm trying to get you to offer your evidence for evolution. It's been 13 minutes now, and you haven't offered any yet. But no, you can study. Charles Darwin, his only degree was in theology. Theology. He went to school to be a preacher. Was he a scientist, Mr. Nelson? Hit pause right here and answer that question. Was he a scientist? Do you think he was a scientist? Okay, I was hoping to get this whole thing done in 4 broadcasts, which means right now is 6 more minutes of his ranting, so we'll stop. Okay, it's been long enough. Thank you so much for your offer, Mr. Nelson, to at least offer some evidence for evolution. You're going to finally get to it because I watched the whole thing already, and thank you so much. We will get to that in a minute. I'm not dishonest. I love the Lord, and I'd like you to meet the Lord. I don't want to be partner with you either. I don't sell any snake oil. Stop lying about me. Anyway, we'll finish it up tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. If you want to come down to Dinosaur Adventureland, we're having a blast here. It's a wonderful place to be, isn't it? Did anybody go up and see the stars last night? Wow. Bruno, you went up and saw it. Isn't that incredible?
Amazing.
We just sat down. A big old shooting star shot across the sky. That was cool. It's beautiful up here. This place is stunning. And you got to ride the 4-wheelers today? Did you get the certificate for... Where are they? He took the tour and survived. Your first time on the 4-wheeler.
That's right.
And they're fun, aren't they?
Pretty fun.
Yeah, you start off kind of scared. You quickly become confident. Then you get cocky. Then you get stupid. Then you get hurt. You go back to scared. You go through the cycle a couple times, and then you get addicted. Whoa, this is cool, right? Okay. Thanks for joining us. Push thumbs up, like us, share. Ring the bell. Tell your friends about us. And if you want to support us, join our 777 Club. We do need some stuff here pretty bad, some equipment. We need a trencher. How much time have you spent on that trench over there, Thomas? You got... Yeah. Anyway, if you want to help, come on down, join us. Thanks a lot. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.